Is Title Update 3 going to essentially be the age of the Gunlance? Well, a lot of you guys have been sending me messages over on Twitter, showing me a couple of tidbits from the patch notes. So I figured that in this video I'd go over all of the patch notes, at least the most relevant stuff, and figure out what exactly is happening with all of these buffs and nerfs, etc, etc, etc. So one of the first things is this is going to be available November 24th. So I already mentioned that I believe that this is going to be on the evening of the 24th. Most likely midnight GMT is going to be when this goes live, but I don't have any official confirmation. It's just been when the other updates have been going live, so most likely in my case you'll be seeing me play this on I believe it's going to be Friday, right, the 25th, because you know I don't think I'm going to be streaming at midnight. I'm getting a little bit too old for those types of stunts. But anyway, an important thing, required space on Nintendo Switch. You're going to need about 700 megs of free space on the Steam. You're going to be needing about twice as much as that. And an interesting thing when I opened up this document is that apparently it says patch version 12.00, even though Title Update 3 is actually version 13.00. What are you doing, Capcom? Silly you. Now, we have the main additions and changes. These are probably going to be the stuff that I already mentioned in my video. So we have a new monsters been added, will appear in Gathering Hub quests. This is going to be, obviously, chaotic. New afflicted monsters and new Risen Elder Dragons have been added to the game. New quests have been added. The cap for anomaly research level has been raised. The level cap for anomaly investigation has been raised. So we already know that, wait. The cap for anomaly research level and the level cap for anomaly investigations, it's the same thing, basically. Right now it's 120 and it's been raised to 200. A level adjustment feature has been added for anomaly investigations. Yeah, we knew that was going to be a thing. Wide variety of monsters now appear in anomaly investigations. Thank God, hopefully in generated anomaly investigations as well, because I've been extremely unlucky. You guys know, a lot of people have been telling me, Rurikhan, it's so easy. All you gotta do is you fight the monster that shows up on the research request. Let me tell you, throughout my entire grind that I did, mostly solo, from 1 to 120, that was maybe an option for a grand total of 5 hunts. Maybe. Because I actually think that that's a pretty exaggerated estimate. Okay? When I tell you that I'm extremely unlucky with RNG, I'm not joking. I am. Anyway, continuing onwards. New weapons, armor, layered equipment, and skills have been added. The layered equipment is going to be from events, minus the weapons. The weapons is going to be exclusively from paid DLC. Level cap for armor upgrades has been raised, so we'll be able to upgrade our defense a little bit more. Curious weapon crafting now includes option for upgrading Gunlance shelling levels. It actually surprises me that a lot of people were not aware of this change, despite the fact that I already made a video talking about it. And, you know, it's been like one of the biggest features of Title Update 3. And I personally think that this is a really good move for Gunlance. And I'm very curious to see how they're going to be handling the weapon in the next couple of games. But I think what would make sense is once you get to endgame, basically you should be allowed to make any Gunlance that you want max shelling level. You don't have to tweak the other stats or whatever. That's fine. Just let us have them be max shelling level, because it's such an integral part of the weapon that without that it just becomes kind of like a gimped version of the weapon, which is why a lot of times there are weapons that we really would like to use and we end up not using them. New skills have been added to the pool of potential skills available during curious armor crafting. Ooh. Interesting. Could we be getting set bonuses? Am I going to be able to get like sneak attack on Basel armor? Now that would be a dream right there. Sneak attack on Basel armor? Hells yeah. 2 armor augment types have been added to Curious Armor Crafting. Yeah, we know about this. It is the Stability and the Skill Plus, or whatever the hell it was called. A new melding type has been added to Melding Pot. Melding Aurora. So hopefully this will give us better RNG on charms. Of course, this is going to cost more materials, but I don't think that this is going to be a problem for most people. At least that's what I would expect. But this is something that we were not aware of in the previous coverage that we did, because they didn't talk about this at all during the Title Update dev diary. New prizes have been added to the market's lottery. More statues, most likely. New trinkets and hanging scrolls have been added. New system elements. Followers can now accompany you on more types of quests, thank God. New options have been added for followers that allow you to customize their wyvern riding and use behavior. This is very important because usually I don't like to do the wyvern riding myself. So if I'm going to be able to bring followers into the quests with me, then most likely I'm going to want them to do the riding as opposed to me. New guild card titles have been added. A new badge of heroes has been added. I usually don't do that much with guild card titles or badge of heroes. I think my guild card title is still Gunlance Gang, and that's pretty much it. Steam achievements have been added for the awards introduced in version 10.0.1.0. I'm not sure if this means 13 or they're actually referring the version 12. Support for NVIDIA DLAA, Deep Learning Anti-Aliasing, has been added. When using an NVIDIA RTX graphics board, you can now enable DLLA from the anti-aliasing options. How about some more support for the red team, huh? How about Team Red, huh? Some more AMD, huh? Anyway, bug fixes and balance adjustments. This is what we're really here for, let's be real. Greatsword fixed an issue when using a true charge slash. Changed from strong arm stance successfully to explode a large barrel bomb will result in more explosion damage than intended. Huh. I wasn't aware that was a thing. So you can make large barrel bombs deal more damage by using a greatsword? Okay, you should move this skill over to the Gunlance because it makes sense. As a matter of fact, you know, considering that Capcom has essentially nerfed the wake-up potential of Wyvern Fire, this is not like a recent thing. They did this a lot of games ago, right? Because our Wyvern Fire is fundamentally divided into like 3 shots. So I think that Wyvern Fire wake-ups should make the barrels explode more violently because it's an explosion. I think that's fair, right? Capcom, think about it. So, Sword and Shield, applying Destroyer Oil now also restores some sharpness in addition to its current effect. Good, because Destroyer Oil needs a buff. Nobody's using it. Sword and Shield fixed an issue with the timing of chaining a rising slash into a round slash, where using the button aside for round slash would mistakenly change into lateral slash or shield attack instead. Haven't really experienced that. I haven't really experienced that one, but sure. Dual Blade Spiral Slash. Attack power slightly increased. Elemental scaling slightly increased. Dual Blades fixed an issue where the Hellfire from Hellfire Blight would stay on the player instead of transferring to the ground after using Spiral Slash too close to the target monster. Interesting. Okay, yeah, that's a good bug fix because Hellfire Blight is something that I personally use a lot, and I can imagine a lot of Dual Blades players might be using that too. Fix an issue where the correct voice lines would not play when using Spiral Slash. Dual Blades and Hammer. Fixed an issue where the skill Intrepid Heart. Intrepid Heart is the one that prevents you from taking damage, right? If I remember correctly, would not properly activate if you were hit right after Dual Blades Shrouded Vault move animation finishes, or after you would hit as the Hammer's Water Strike animation begins. Okay, so that was a little bit of a problem there. Hammer Dashbreaker attack power slightly increased, so buff the hammer. Also performing charge right before Dashbreaker ends will start you at max charge instead of continuing from your previous charge level. Hammer spinning, Silkbind spinning bludgeon, attack power increased, elemental scaling slightly increased. Kind of feel like elemental scaling, actually I don't know how viable it is with hammers. I haven't played hammer almost at all during Sunbreak. Hunting Horn, the sharpness extension melody effect now also restores some sharpness upon activation. Dude, that is so powerful. Okay, the main feature right here. Gunlance, Ground Splitter, effect duration increased. Oh man, it was about time. Effect duration increased. Wire bug gauge recovery speed increased. Yes! Let's go! Ground Splitter, baby! Gunlance Hail Cutter. Wire bug gauge cost changed to 1. You mean like everybody that's been playing Gunlance said since the beginning of time that this was a completely worthless skill? This actually makes me way more happy than you can imagine, because I know that probably at this point very few people are going to remember. But for starters, it means that Master Arlo's research was successful, because if you don't remember, as a matter of fact, I think they probably even have it on the website here. Let me just quickly look. Okay, I found it. Initially, this information was on the website, but apparently they removed it. But as you can see right here, this is Elgato's outpost hunting tactics instructor and arena quest handler master Arlo. Fiorane and his sister Rondine have also trained under his guidance, a master of the Gunlance. He's researching ways to improve Hail Cutter's cooldown effect. As it turns out, his research was successful because Hail Cutter has been improved. The wire bug gauge is now only 1, and wire bug gauge recovery speed changed to medium. So you can, all of you Gunlance mains out there, you can thank Master Arlo for the buffs that we just got to Hail Cutter. Another one, Gunlance Ground Splitter fixed an inconsistency between the player animation and the duration of the blowback, negation, and damage reduction effects that would occur after successfully hitting the monster with Ground Splitter. Actually, this has happened to me plenty of times, where, like, I would feel that, oh, usually I get a little bit more of a, not invulnerability, but like hyper armor period. And sometimes it would feel a little bit shorter than usual. So it's interesting that they actually fixed that. Gunlance fixed an issue where the forward movement of bullet barrage would cause large barrel bombs and make barrel bombs to explode unintended times! Woohoo! This was a big one too. Like, this happened all the time. You can see this on my stream so often and I get so frustrated. Not only that, but if you go to Twitter or if you see like videos from Chaos Slayer, you'll see him complain about this thing all the time too. Both of us were constantly complaining about this glitch where it's almost like the distance that you're going to travel, they generate the hitbox instantly, and then it would just like explode stuff constantly. It was very, very frustrating, and it required very precise positioning in order for us to properly do bullet barrage wake-ups, because stuff would just detonate prematurely unless you were like really far away. I guess now I can finally start doing wake-ups point blank, which you couldn't do at all when it came to bullet barrage. This is great. Gunlance fixed an issue with the timing of chaining a lunging up thrust into a quick reload, and finally an overhead smash. We're using the button aside for an overhead smash, mistakenly chained into a shelling instead. Oh my god. I thought I was mistiming this input. This happens to me so often. And this whole time, I always thought to myself, this is so weird. This didn't used to happen in the other games, but in this one, it's been happening since the beginning of Rise. Since the start of Rise, this has been happening all the time. And I was like, I guess I'm just messing up the input, but for some reason, it's like the shelling just comes off way too fast. Turns out it was actually a problem. Oh my god, dude, this happened to me all the time. Like, if you actually go and you watch any of my live streams where I'm either playing like normal shelling or long shelling full burst, if you watch any of those live streams, you will very quickly find a hunt where this happens to me, where I go like poke and then you see a shell come off almost instantly because it didn't reload like I wanted to. This happened all the time. Dude, this makes me so happy, because this is such a very specific niche thing that I would never expect for them to even look at it, let alone actually identify it as a problem. Like, I'm genuinely surprised. Like, this reinforces so much of my faith in the like, oh, they already have most of my faith, but this just like elevates the Monster Hunter team to another level, recognizing something that even I, as somebody who has like God knows how many thousands of hours on Gunlance, I just thought I was pressing the buttons wrong. I'm like, I'm probably pressing the buttons wrong, but it's like, no, there's actually an issue. Oh god, I'm so happy. Insect Glaive, awakened Kinsec attack, adjust the attack power values for each number of extract college consumed as below. 1, attack power slightly increased. 2, attack power slightly increased. 3, attack power increased. So a buff to Insect Glaive as well. Heavy Bowgun, crouching shot. Recovery speed of the overheat gauge has been increased, so a nerf. Overheat duration has been decreased. Is it a nerf? I don't... Whatever. Normal ammo 1-3, pierce ammo, interval has been decreased, so it's a buff. Total number of shots has been increased. Another buff. Interval... So they're buffing one of the most powerful weapons in the game. All right. Heavy Bowgun. Fixed an issue where the skill Intrepid Heart will then intentionally activate after a counter. Is successfully triggered when taking a hit during the crouching portions of counter. Okay. That is actually important. Reduce some of the issues involving certain weapon sound effects not playing correctly when too many other sounds effects play at the same time. Fix an issue where skill redirection would prompt the chat log message even if the skill effect has not been triggered, which would happen when hitting a lamp squid or other endemic life while performing a switch skill swap. Fix an issue where the effect durations of gourmet fish and immunized could be unintentionally overwritten by shorter effect durations. Fix an issue where receiving a blowback hit when you are afflicted with Hellfire Blight and have a blowback negation effect would cause all subsequent Hellfire Blights to explode even when receiving hits that wouldn't cause... Okay. Fix an issue introduced in version 12.01 where the icon for the fence down would sometimes display at incorrect times. Okay. Same thing for Steam. Color flashing effects of different parts of the health bar have been made easier to tell apart when the bleeding status is active. Curing the frenzy status activated the skill Bloodlust with an anti-Dobra would ignore the size of your health gauge and restore more health than intended. Buddies! Some of the Palamutes have had their gear values adjusted. Elemental scaling increase, so buff. Stun value slightly increased, buff. Exhaust values increased, attack power increased. Elemental scaling increased. Elemental scaling increased. This seems reasonable considering that dogs are already, like, supposedly, according to what people tell me, the highest damaging buddy, so they just got buffed. Okay, I think, yeah, because who cares about Palicos? Although, to be honest, I think it's fine for dogs to deal more damage because Palicos bring so much utility to the fight. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Palamute sometimes repeat a starting, stopping movement, so it's just like general fixing stuff. Fix an issue where successfully hitting an Apex Wrathen with the Kitnator could flinch the monster but would not topple it. This has happened to me plenty of times. Don't know what's going on there, but I guess that... I thought it was just like a stagger thing. Like I thought the Kitnator would just not deal enough stagger damage to topple it, but I guess I was wrong. Alleviate an issue, Palamute sometimes go after a monster in a neighboring area. If there's no targetable monster with the same area as the Palamute. Palamute pattern, okay, so this is just like more stuff. Followers' attack power with the following weapon types has been increased. Greatsword, longsword, sword and shield, dual blades, lance, gun lance, switch axe, charge blade, insect glaive, light bowgun, heavy bowgun, and bow. Okay, so first when I read followers, I thought it was going to be buddies, but it's actually followers, as in Arlo, Luchika, you know, the Fiorane, so on and so forth. So it's pretty much every weapon except hammer and hunting horn. Now I guess it's because the hunting horn brings a lot of power to the hunt itself by buffing you with all different kinds of buffs. But the hammer, I actually don't know. Maybe the stunning potential of it is too powerful. Maybe it is because of the stunning potential and the potential for people to just like gang up on monsters with blunt type weapons and stun them to death. But interesting. Well, I mean, I'm happy. That means the Master Arlo and Luchika are going to be dealing additional damage, so that's good to me. That works for me. That's good. Fix an issue where follower just Acrobat 1 and 2 would not work properly at times. An issue where item effects from some items followers could use were not being applied correctly. Your first follower has fallen to battle. Your second follower would not initiate Wyvern riding on a monster that's in a mountable state. Fix an issue where Utsuchi will repeatedly perform a switch skill swap when using dual blades. Fix an issue where Utsuchi would sometimes fail to execute a swap evade after performing a switch skill swap using a heavy bowgun. Fix an issue where Gallius would fail to perform strong arm stance combos when using the great sword. Fix an issue where Fugan would use Spirit Helmbreaker when his spirit gauge is too low. Using a... Okay, so it's just like random stuff from followers. And then there's a couple of bugs here from monsters, but I don't think they are super important. Steam, fix an issue where Geism Garment's act would not show up properly on certain BNC environments. Fix an issue where hit effects on anomaly cores would activate more frequently than intended at high frame rates. Uh-oh. This could actually affect me on PC. Fix an occasional issue where monsters would not be able to climb over ledges, would instead slide down when playing at high frame rates. Okay, so monsters are struggling to deal with the power of the PC master race. Base facilities, new augmentations have been added to the smithy. The specs for randomization have been adjusted accordingly, including for existing augmentations. Added feature, when augmenting armor, the smithy converts surplus points into items when performing multiple meldings, rebirths, or melding reincarnation succession at the Harmer's melding pot. Cursor. Okay, so it's quality of life. Toadversary would have different stats depending on which quest the player had currently accepted. Fix an issue would take a long time for anything to be displayed using the equipment box if you have a large number of talismans. Okay, so it's mostly quality of life stuff from what I can see here. Then we have quests. Increase the number of research points you can earn for Anomaly 2 to Anomaly 6 monsters. Thank God! That was grindy as balls. Fix an issue where Anomaly quests would not yield Anomaly research points. I wonder if I ever ran into that. Because I usually just like skip at the end. I don't even pay attention. Your quest level will now increase faster when completing an Anomaly investigation. Thank you! Increase the number of Anomaly research points you can earn for Anomaly quests, Anomaly investigation from level 1 to 120. Okay, that does it. I'm gonna go back to the Switch now that it's faster the level. Actually, I don't know, but I just miss playing it on the Switch, guys, and especially because like Christmas is coming up. It'd be nice to have like a proper save file so that I can just take the Switch with me. And I know that people are gonna say Steam Deck. I don't have a Steam Deck, and I have no plans to buy one. Fix an issue where locked anomaly investigations would have their lock removed if you complete them after accepting an anomaly investigation in a lobby. Fix an issue anomaly investigation with Apex Azura's Apex Wrath and would yield unintended rewards. Yeah, the unintended rewards of an Apex Azura's is a black eye. When joining an anomaly investigation via join request, I'll be able to see the current number of feints. Fix an issue where the unstable environments icon would not show up for anomaly investigations where Furious Rajang or Seething Basel would show up as invaders. They do that? I rarely see any invasions happening in Sunbreak. Fix an issue where mutual like points would change color when scrolling up and down on the anomaly investigation screens. Afflicted Cortex cannot be carved from Juratotus. Fix an issue where the player would be able to use the fence during the Roar of the Black Eclipse event quest, even though there's only one target monster. Haven't we always been able to use the fence in one target monsters? I kind of feel like that was... I don't understand why you shouldn't be able to use the fence. Why not? I mean, maybe you want to keep the monster in a tighter spot. But I guess it's just intended for dual monsters. There's some more equipment and menu stuff, but I think that this is pretty much it. Also, the video is already way too long as it is. But yeah, I am super excited for this patch. As I've told you guys, the followers is going to be cool. The Gunlance buffs, that we actually got more than what I expected. And I don't know how many of you guys remember, but I used to have the aerial build that I would play, where I would do a playstyle that I would actually use Hail Cutter, even though I knew was completely and utterly worthless, but it was fun as hell. And now that means I can bring that playstyle back. You have no idea how excited I am for that. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button. Really, really helps out so that Aunt Susan doesn't bring out the clamps. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, bell notification icon, all of that jazz. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.